Hi, folks. Welcome to another 10 Talk. I'm really excited today. Abby Cook is going to chat with us about some strategies, especially working with young children remotely, which I can't wait to hear about. Abby is the director and owner of Communication Junction based out of Peoria. My name is Nancy Latham. I'm from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. And Abby, I was just so interested. I can't wait to hear these tips because that whole when you're working with young children remotely, instantly parents became part of the teaching team, right? And so I'm just so excited to hear your good tips.
Great. Thanks, Nancy. Yep. I do love working with these little people. It's lots of fun and it has been an adventure since we got started virtually. So I'm going to share my screen just because I have a nice graphic that kind of explains. Can you see that graphic
I
okay?
can, it's working.
Okay, perfect. So it just kind of explains what we've come up with. So at Communication Junction, our whole model was to teach in person with little ones, 0 to 5, and their parents. And then COVID-19 hit. And so we had to kind of, just like the rest of the world, make that switch to a virtual environment. And who in their right mind ever would have thought they would be taking their baby, toddler, or preschooler to learn virtually? So here we are. So we have been doing this now for 6 months, and we've just kind of come up with these, I don't know what you want to call them. You could call them tools, you could call them strategies, you could call them the magic solution for what is really helping kids be able to be engaged and learn in this virtual environment. I had a conversation with a friend recently, and she said something that stuck with me. Not all screen time is created equal, right? So we are creating an environment that is engaging and conducive to learning for kids, just like all of the teachers are, and it just happens to be being presented through a virtual platform. So we have to make a few adjustments so that it's an optimal learning environment for everybody. So our little framework that we have here, the first one is the environment. So if kids are learning at home, especially the little ones, what we have found is that they need some sort of supportive seating. And I think that this translates for everybody, right? If you don't have some sort of a defined space to learn, your body is not able to kind of regulate itself. And so that could be for our littlest learners, a high chair, strap chair or tray, right? And for our older kids, it could just be a desk chair that has some arms or a sturdy chair that's pushed up to a table so that they have a defined place in space to help them, just regulate their bodies to learn. The other thing that we found in terms of modifying the environment that is just great for kids is that a screen that is we're calling medium sized is the best for them. So trying to learn from a phone is just hard. And so many families have these large screens, over their fireplace. And you would think that that would be the best place to put something for someone to learn, right? Nice and big so they can see it. But what we found is that's too visually distracting for kids. They get distracted by all of those things that are on the way to them seeing that screen. So we really recommend using a laptop or an iPad or some sort of a tablet that's kind of that medium-sized screen. So they are secure, they're focused, right? Minimize distractions. That means that the television needs to go off, right? That means that maybe they need to have headphones if they're a little bit older and other people are learning in the environment. That means that if dad needs to take a phone call while mom and child are learning, that maybe he needs to take it in the other room or hop outside or something like that. And then, of course, especially with this young population, but even the older kids, you have got to allow for breaks because they can't sit and learn. Our classes online are only 30 to 45 minutes, but we're still offering lots of opportunities for the kids to get up and move. So that's the first kind of key element is environment. Then we're going to skip over to the last little bubble, I guess, on the screen, and that's materials. So I know that all teachers are happy to share a list of resources or materials with their families if it's going to make the learning environment better. So what we do is we send out an email with, here's what we're learning this week, and here are some things you can collect around your house to support that. And of course, that translates to any learning environment and any teaching style that you can just kind of gather those things. So you see here in this graphic, we were learning about fishing for feelings in this class. So the mom gathered the fish that we had sent home and she grabbed a fishing pole. We blow bubbles in class, so she's got bubbles there and a shaker, and it's all right there nice in a little container that the family uses. And then the other thing, especially with our little ones, is snacks. So they're not always going to pay attention 100% of the time, but they always need something in their hands to help them. So we always recommend snacks. And who doesn't love a good snack, right? So that seems to help. And then the key to all of this, to tie all of this through, is the parents and their participation. So the more that the parents can be modeling what we're doing and participating, in the lesson, the more engaged their child's going to be. So, really, the way that I look at virtual learning is a coaching model. And I am coaching the parents on how to interact with their kids to help them learn. So a lot of times I say to them, I need you to be my mirror. I need you to do what I'm doing at home, regardless of how silly you think that it looks, right? I'm sitting here being silly to a screen. So now you get to be at home and be silly with your child. Who doesn't love that? Who doesn't love playing and learning with their kiddos? So if you're having fun, if you're engaged, they're going to be learning and having fun. But if you leave them by themselves, these little guys, you are sitting on your phone next to them the whole time, they are not going to be engaged. So that's what we talk to the parents about. Modify your environment, have materials to support what we're doing, but really the glue that puts those two things together is the participation of the parents and making sure that they are helping with the learning process also.
I love these ideas. And the thing that strikes me, Abby, is in this remote environment that we all got thrown into so quickly, before we could think, but what you're really going back to is what we know is good teaching, what we know about setting up the face-to-face environment. We know that the way they're seated and the things they can see, and if we overstimulate with distractions and providing the materials they need in a non-frustrating way where they can be in control and have what they need. You're not going and searching and making them sit and then expecting the behavior to not, kind of get what you deserve as far as lack of engagement. And that parent participation. I mean, there's nobody more important to them than their parent. If the parent is on the phone and not participating, then the phone must be more interesting. They're going to go to that whatever's going on, and they're so easily. But aren't we all easily distracted?
Yes, absolutely.
If we
I
were
know
on.
that I spoke so much to that younger population, but I really think that all three of those things translate so nicely across all of the age groups. I just happen to specialize with the little guys,
Yeah.
so usually that's where my brain goes when I'm talking about those things. But um,
Yeah, we hear so much about and I think rightly so, teachers saying this is so hard to do online with the younger. It's harder with the younger ones. And it really goes back to what we've always known. They can only take so much whole group instruction, even in the room. They can only take so much before you have to break things up. I mean, I loved what you said about breaks, because it's your schedule too. Even though you may not have as big a chunk of time with them, they still can only do so much at one time for a certain amount of time.
that's
The
right.
younger they are, the more that needs to break up,
That's right. And my families sign up for an 8-week class. They sign up, they're committed to joining us for 8 weeks. But one of the things that you and I had talked about before is even like trying once a week to plan a time that the parents and the teachers can do this kind of coaching model, because parents are working too when their kids are at home learning. Mom's trying to do her job, dad's trying to do his job, and they've got a kindergartner at home learning, and balancing all of that. So they can't always be 100% engaged. They can't always be sitting there the whole time. But I think if the teachers and the families could find 1 or 2 30-minute, 20-minute times a week that they could kind of meet, and the teacher can show some strategies that the parents then can start using with the kids on those times that they're off screen and still trying to complete homework or schoolwork, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And not to mention, other siblings in the home. I mean, there's just a lot of distractions right now that it makes this I think focusing is good. And I loved your ideas about the materials. I love that they're actually doing something that maybe you're mimicking on the screen, but they're doing.
Right.
I think that's huge too. And I know there's accessibility issues, just like there is with internet. There's material trying to get that to parents and to homes and get people what they need. But I think with a heads up, and there's some creative ways to do that too. You have to think way out with your instruction. These have been great ideas, Abby. We're so excited. We are going to have your graphic in our top 10 list. We'll put that in our top 10 list along with some things about planning the environment and some articles, some other things that support that. So teachers can grab that. So Abby, thank you so much. I appreciate it.